Hobblespike, huh? I watched Dave's video, Long Boys Post, 1975, and he went on for a bit about his favorite childhood toy, or his stuffed animal, basically, Hobblespike. And he asked, what is your favorite toy, the thing that you just couldn't get rid of, or you wouldn't let your parents throw away, or... And my first reaction after seeing that, I thought, well, you know, I don't have anything like that. I never played with dolls or action figures, or I don't think I ever had one. I had a robot, which, you know, I played with, but I don't have anymore. And I think I had an action figure, the one with, you know, with you could press his back and his arm would go like this. But it never meant anything for me. It wasn't something that I wanted. So I was thinking, you know, I don't have anything. I don't have a toy that I just that I couldn't live without. And it sounded a bit stupid or different, or so I started thinking, you know, what do I have? Do I have anything from that time? And actually I do. And it's not so strange, maybe, that those things aren't toys, but they are comics. And I have a lot of them, actually. I even inherited a whole bunch of them from my uncle. But they're comics that you know, many of you wouldn't be familiar with. Suske and Wiske, they're a Belgian comic. There are hundreds of those, and I have a big part of the collection. And that's what I kept. But the thing that's always been sort of in my collection, in a box stuffed away in the attic, are my toy cars, which I still have. And the funny thing is that I know each and every one of them still. But I couldn't find those, but I did find my comics. I have Marvel comics, which is funny because you know, in recent years we've had a lot of superhero movies. You know, the X-Men and Spider-Man, and of course there were always the Superman movies, and but you know, Thor and that kind of. I had those comics, and I found a stack of them, and I just want to go through them. Basically, to do Dave a favor, because Dave said that he wanted to see them. This is the stack. It's not a very big stack, and you know, before I turned on the camera, I thought, you know, let's have a quick read through them. But some of them I don't think I ever read because I didn't think they were interesting. But some I did, so I'll go through them. There's a little stack. They're all. I don't even know where I got them. I think my mom must have bought them for me. So the first couple of them, I'm starting with the least interesting ones, were Tarzan comics. They're all Junior Press, I think. Yeah, they're all Junior Press, which must have been a publisher. And some of these I know, I remember, like this one. This is one that I remember specifically because of this scene. I even have one that's called Korak, the son of Tarzan. Did anyone know that? This was not my favorite comic, but this one, of the Tarzan ones, this was. I don't know if you can see, but this is a scene where Tarzan and his friend are both blindfolded, and they have to walk through a pit of snakes to the center of the pit, and there's a tree there, and when they make it to the tree, they get to live, and otherwise, you know, they get to die. Um, and that is a scene that I remember. There, mostly in these little comics, there are 2 or 3 stories, and the second story, I I remember this picture. The guy, he's dead and he's hanging over a tree in the jungle. I don't know what happened to him. Oh, this is. He even mentions Korak here. Oh, this is where all the villages go crazy. They all go nuts, and Tarzan has to solve the puzzle. So this is one. And then I had a bunch of Star Wars comics. Now, I cannot remember ever reading these, and I think I know why. Because if you look at the style of drawing, it's a very specific. It's sort of a messy kind of style. The print is bad. There's a lot of color bleeding, and the characters don't actually look anything like the actors in the movie. So I never read this. I never read these. It's just like a really messy style. The style of drawing is very important. My favorite comic has it's basically a lot like Tom and Jerry. And I wonder if you agree with me, is that the Tom and Jerry cartoons made while Fred Quimby was a producer, style-wise, they're the best. As far as that's just my opinion. Because Tom looks funny. He has only 4 whiskers, and Jerry too. They look funny. It's just the style that really gets me. The weird thing is that Fred Quimby wasn't even he didn't know very much about making cartoons, and probably the artists under him saw a chance to make the cartoon that they wanted to make. Then I've got a couple. I can remember reading these. The Rawhide Kid. He's not even a superhero. He's just a. And I do remember reading these because there were times that I just didn't want to read the others again because I had so many times already, and I thought let's give it a shot. But it's I can remember I read this one but not the other one, and I can't remember the story, and I didn't even the Rawhide Kid. Then I had this. I can remember reading this. This is John Carter, Man from Mars. Now these are all in Dutch, of course. So, and I don't remember much of the story, but there's a spark-like guy. There's a picture here that this is all. This is before the time of the digital honeys, but these are. This I was a young boy, and I found this very interesting. But what I also found is that this green guy here, he's a good guy. And he has like 6 arms, but I was always wondering, his fangs in his lower jaw, they're almost into his eyes, Does he ever wake up with a tooth in his eye? I don't know. There's a couple more. I can remember reading this one. Although I wouldn't know. Oh, look at this. This is hot. This is really. I like this style. Anyway, then, of course, there are the Conan the Barbarian series. Now these, I remember reading many of them, and see this picture. This is Conan. He's supposed to be the hero, and he's really cool, but he's sitting there, like a bum, basically drinking wine, and then something happens to him. And he fights this guy, but of course Conan is the stronger one, and the other guy looks pretty burly himself, And then he goes off on an adventure. He even kisses this beautiful girl here. This is really good stuff. And Conan was not really a superhero, but this is where he fights some sort of being from some sort of gargoyle or something. I had faith in the old Conan that he was gonna He was going to win every time because he was so tough. And of course, his little friend, Red Sonja. All right. Well, this is, get ready for some. This is where she goes blind, actually. Oh yeah. But this is also with devils and stuff. And Sonja goes blind, and I think Conan has to help her or guide her or something. Oh yeah. This is where they shoot the bird. And when she gets the blood of the bird on her eyes, she can see again. Something like that. Alright. Red Sonja. This is very, scarcely dressed. Good looking. And a couple of more. And then there's, these are probably like the proto superheroes, Superman and Batman in one comic. Now what I liked about these comics is that, you see a picture of, this is Superman, and he has a little thingy attached to his chest, and there's a baddie standing behind him, and you think, he's gonna die, he's not gonna make it. And you know that he will, because see, this is what happens in the movies as well. It turns out, you dig a hole for another, and then, yeah. This is cool. So, Superman, but Superman wasn't my favorite superhero. Although he could do the things that that I thought was great. He could fly. Sorry about that. Talk about style. This is a Wolverine. Now I'm going to show you this, and I'm sure you're not going to want to read it. Just like I think I read this, but the style. Look at this. Is this Wolverine? And I can recognize him as Wolverine, but this Wolverine? This is not Wolverine. And this is like, is this with Nazis or something? Well, it's Bawam and Bomb and Brap Bert and Shrek. They must have had fun thinking of those words, right? This, I remember, the Fantastic Four up against some girl called Ego. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, this is like a girl from outer space. This chick lands on the Earth, and she doesn't speak the language, and everyone starts attacking her, and she does something with her mind. And then the Fantastic Four start attacking. I mean, she's really big. I remember this. She's like unconscious here, and they carry her, but look at how big she is. I thought that was pretty sexy. She has huge breasts, really. So I like this one very much. And then this how can you be a superhero? This is like with Dr. Doom, and then this girl. This is like a one-time superhero girl. She's called Dazzler, and all she can do is skate around and shoot light out of her wristbands, because light has to reflect on it, and then she can go ooh. That's not a superhero. I had to switch cameras there. So Dr. Doom is basically a lot like Batman, because he doesn't have a rubber suit, but he has a steel suit, and he's a rich guy, and he's a really smart guy. But somehow I had a little bit more respect for Dr. Doom. This picture, I gotta tell you a story about this one. See that one? I thought this picture was so cool that after reading this, I thought I was alone at home, and I wanted to do what he does, stand there like that. So I did that. And all the while I was doing that, my brother was watching me, and I didn't know. He laughed his ass off at me. God, I felt like shit. So Dr. Doom, guys. Now this one is great. This one has always had a special place in my head. This guy is he sort of has something against the X-Men for some reason, and he's smart enough to catch all the X-Men with his devices, and then he doesn't kill them, but he brings them to a place which is basically a huge pinball machine and a sort of an arcade kind of game sort of thing, and our superheroes are in there, and they're being like obliterated. There's this Wolverine passing through mirrors, and there's this I don't know what is this. I don't know what this guy is called actually. The guy who turns into, he's in the movie where his skin turns to steel if he wants. He's Russian, and he's sort of fucked over by the Gestapo here, and then we have Cyclops and Storm. They're all getting their asses whipped by this guy because he's just smart and he has like a lot of money and he builds a cool machine, and then, oh yeah, this is cool. Oh, see, they talk the steel skin guy into being a true Russian again, and he goes up against his friends because they messed with his head. Yeah, that's cool. That is cool. And then all of a sudden, they're in the middle of the fight, and Wolverine says, "Hey, you know what? I'm just gonna start ripping the walls apart." And of course that works, and in the end they all win, and they're all nicely deposited somewhere, and blah, and they come out of the tunnel of love. This is a great one. Again, the guy's called Arcade. We never see him again. At least I didn't, because this was my Marvel world. Now there's this one, Iron Man and Moon Knight. Never heard of the guy. The Defenders, all the superheroes that we know and some that we don't. Silver Surfer, Doctor Strange, and the Thor lady. I don't know what she's called. A weird one, I think, this is the one. Oh, weird stuff happens here, man. I think this is the one where where Doctor Strange takes them to Dante's Hell or something. I don't know. It certainly looks warm. I'm reading the comic on camera, which is stupid. But this is an interesting one that's been. And then there's a couple of again to say this is the Hulk. I have a couple of Hulk magazines as well. This is style-wise, this is a reasonable one. Hulky. We all recognize him, but then put it next to this one. What's he eating? He looks like a creeper from Minecraft here. This is just bad. If you hurt the kids, and the Hulk is gonna hurt you. And then there's this here. I remember this one. This is actually a pretty good story, but there are a couple of weird heroes in here again. Style-wise, yeah, well. See, I don't know if you can see, but the Hulk has a really mean face here, which I like. But then there's a couple of heroes in here that, and then you turn the page and all of a sudden he looks like that. That doesn't work. Weird heroes in here. The Boomerang and I don't know, some guy who looks like they're called the Rangers. I think, like, Marvel wanted to create a new group of superheroes. This is the sort of the Wild West gang. We have Firebird and Red Wolf, and we have the Texas Twister and the Knight Rider. Wrong. I bet his horse is called Kit. And then this girl is called Shooting Star. They didn't make it. And this one I never got. This is the Hulk, and he's waving at us. I think this is the one where the Hulk gets interviewed, and he talks to the. This is the Hulk crying. Come on, that doesn't work. The Hulk, how it all began. The Hulk is turned gray in this one. I don't know why. And then there's a couple of Spider-Woman comics Spider-Woman. Now, my favorite superhero of the day was Spider-Man, but Spider-Man looked hot, you know. Look at this one. I for some reason I have 3 of these. So if anyone wants to trade, I don't know if they're worth anything. No, they're in Dutch. So, Spider-Woman up against the Grimm brothers. You know, if they weren't fighting, I don't know what they were doing because, man, Spider-Woman, look at her. Gee. And then there's this one where Spider-Woman tries to solve a crime. This is more of like a detective one against a clown. Spider-Man, here's the Hulk looking like a potato and he's gray. This one, I have this double as well, I see now. Now this is the one. This is a really good one. This is the X-Men. This I sorted them, but you know I made a little mistake here. And this is where Doctor Strange takes the X-Men into Dante's Hell. Now this scene is very important to me, at least, or it was back then. They eventually come to the gates of hell, and I don't what's this guy called? The guy with the iron skin, the Russian guy. He says, "Oh, you know, let me open the door for you." So he pulls it open, and of course the door says "room" because there's a room in there probably, and there's demons, and they look afraid, and then Doctor Strange, he thinks to himself here, look. You know, you're really a human, and you shouldn't have been able to open those doors. So, and that remark is always, you know, I've always thought, you know, what does that mean? You know, what's gonna come out of that? You shouldn't be able to. So maybe it's all fake, but it's not. And then there's Storm. You know, Storm is a beautiful woman, but now she turns into this one is epic stuff. And then of course, after they've had his sister, you know, they're after his brother. Her brother now. The Grimm brothers are after Spider-Man. Woo! This one is good as well. I normally didn't like the mix of, you know, this is the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man. I really liked being Torch. You know, just setting yourself on fire and flying off, cool. But this is where Spider-Man somehow, he gets this message. You know, his Spidey sense goes off and he thinks, hey, there's a kid that I have to save. And he finds the kid, and in the end, it appears that the kid has some sort of mind control. And he mind controls Spider-Man into attacking the Fantastic Four. And they have a job, you know. They have a really hard time surviving that. Cool, yeah, I'm a Spider-Man fan, so I really like that. Spider-Man is the best. And Spider-Man up against a guy in a suit, and this really ugly. This bird guy. What's he called? It's like a vulture guy. I don't know. And there's Dr. Octopus, and this is one that I also thought was very cool. This guy is in prison. This guy is the Thinker, and he's in prison, but you know, he can take his mind out of the prison, and then he can control things. So he's really not in prison. This one was pretty stupid, about a guy. I never really got this. This wasn't a very cool story. It's about this guy who's like a financial expert, and he goes away to Tibet, and then he comes back, and they want to make him into this financial success story, and Spider-Man saves him. I don't know. It's Hydro Man. I can't remember Hydro Man, but I can remember this. He looks like that actor. Tom someone. I can't remember his last name. Shoot to Kill. That's with the Sidney Poitier. Tom something with a B. Hydro Man coming out of the shower with this woman. You're not Spider-Man. Yeah, I'm not looking for you. Bench. And this picture, the girl with who's blowing the smoke out of her nose. Cool. And this one where Spider-Man hits him in the face, but he just hits water. Yeah, Spider-Man up against Doc Ock. This one is cool. Kingpin. Anyone remember Kingpin? Kingpin is this really big, bulky guy who's just basically very strong. And now Spider-Man, who's been up against the Hulk and who's been up against the Fantastic Four, now he's up against Kingpin and he's losing. How strong is this Kingpin then? I was sort of comparing them in my head. And this one, this is so lame. This is so lame. This is about the Marathon of New York. The story is pretty good, and I liked reading it. This is where where Hydro Man and Sandman they gang up on our friendly neighborhood spider. But there's this woman, and this is cool. I can remember this. The guy comes out of the water because he materializes out of the water, and they shoot bullets at him, and they go straight through him. Cool. And they merge in the end. This looked like a fantastic beginning of a new story. Hydro Man and Sandman together, but never happened. But the lame thing is that there is this woman in here, and I can't really remember. She helps Spidey, but she's blind, and she sort of has a sense, and she calls him. Oh, there's a guy over here. Oh, there's a guy over there, and she's sort of presented as a Madam Web. Ooh, Madam Web. What I thought was cool, or cool when I was this age, I really wanted a TV in my room, and I never had enough money, and my parents wouldn't get me one. I just wanted a TV in my room, and then there's this cartoon or this comic where the guy just punches through the window and gives the girl a TV. They're trying to win her over, and he just gets her a TV. They thought, shit, I want to be the Sandman. And then there's the last two were there. Which is this one, Spider-Man, again with the Moon Knight. He makes a return, and this story is actually really good because the Moon Knight is really a good guy, but he's going around stealing stuff because he's in sort of a contest of who can steal the most money, and somehow he's trying to do good with that because he wants to sort of wipe out the mob. And first Spider-Man is against him, and then they start working together, so you get Spider-Man stealing gold and stuff. That's funny. And this one, this was a really special one where Spider-Man goes into a snake world and he gets bitten, and he can sort of understand snakes and stuff and other dimensions. And this was a really cool one. Oh yeah, I can remember. This is where Spider-Man discovers, he thinks he's surrounded by all his friends, and then his Spidey sense goes off, and then he says, "Kanama Kala Jarama," and then they all change into snakes. They weren't his friends; they were snakes in disguise. I didn't play with toys much. I read comics. So, and I was afraid of the dark, Dave, and I just imagined that I had a force field around me, and nothing could touch me, and that worked for me. So 2 cameras. It took 2 cameras to film this. I'm gonna have to puzzle this together. One game that I picked up. Yes, it's also a sort of a pickup video. One game, and I've been actually waiting a while for this one. It's called the Blackstone Magic and Steel. It's for the Xbox. And there are a lot of copies of this on eBay, but this was the cheapest one. It's from Belgium. And for those of you who don't know, Belgium is basically cut in half in a French part and a Dutch part. Now, this was a PAL game, but it was from the French part of Belgium, so I was really afraid that this was going to be in French. And the guy said in French that there were scratches on the disc, but they were superficial, and the game worked. and I got the box. I e-sniped it, you know. I forgot about it, and I just put in, you know, he wanted at least 15 for it, so I put a bid of 15, which is the minimum bid in e-snipe, and I won. So, you know, I couldn't have gotten this for less than that. And it came in, and it's all in French, and I thought, oh God, you know, all in all, it was about 23 bucks getting it here. And it was all in French. I thought, oh shit, you know, and even the manual was all in French. Everything is in French. There's nothing in English, except a couple of words on the disc itself. But then I put it in, and it was all in English. Even the sound. So the soundtrack was in English. So Blackstone Magic and Steel. Played a little bit of it. It's much like you know, it's an isometric hack and slash game. It's not Diablo 3. Diablo 3's controls are much better than this, but this is it's still a nice game. I'm glad to have this, and it'll go in my collection if I can see. Oh, this is where my Xbox games are. Oh, there we go. Oh, I can't remember who asked who this was. Now, was it Paul Pollington? Was you or someone else? I can't remember. Who is this in the background? Grubgun collects Spice Girl stuff. And I was on a flea market, and I found a couple of, you know, found the folder and a bunch of photos of the Spice Girls. And this is Mel B, and I don't care about the Spice Girls really. But this Mel B, look at that. She was good looking then. If you look up, you know what she looks like now. She's changed. She's still a good-looking woman though. So I kept this picture. I said to Grubgun, you know, I'm keeping this one because I like her. I can remember when the Spice Girls were the thing that I thought she was it for me. Not in real life, of course. You know, she's and I don't know. I just keep her up here, just you know. And another thing, I have this. I got this from Dave. This was the Brucey bonus that he gave me when we did a trade. And Novabug actually messaged me, said, hey, is that my millionaire? And then Dave did a video on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So it's in my possession. And I'm thinking, you know, maybe this thing maybe I should play it. And sort of you know, I send it to the next guy and they play it, and you know, we see who gets the most money. I think that's a good idea. So I'm putting it right here. Oh God, I'm remembering it. On another note, I got Final Fantasy IX the other day, and I was looking at my collection of Final Fantasy games, which is definitely growing, and I was thinking, you know, I have Final Fantasy IX, I have 10, I think I have 12 and 13, but I didn't have 11, so now I'm looking for 11. And I'm thinking of doing a video of my entire Final Fantasy collection. I'm done. This video is too long. I have no idea how long it is. It must be 20 minutes, over 20 minutes probably. Another thing I forgot to mention, I'm going to Manchester. I'm going to Manchester. To the retro replay whatever thing. I'm going with Mark. I have the plane ticket bought and paid for and thing, and the hotel is booked and everything. It's costing me a fucking arm and a leg to get there. Jesus, you know, the flight is nothing, but the hotel is crazy. So I'm doing this once, guys, and maybe in a long time. You know, this is nuts. You know, going there, I shouldn't be going. I mean, I want to see you guys. I want to meet you guys, but Jesus Christ, you know, I'm not made of money. So I'm not going to spend anything there except on food. But I'm not going to buy any games or anything. I'm really going for the community. I'm going to see you guys. That's going to be, and I hope to see everyone there. You know, I know that Giles was thinking of coming, and Joe was thinking of coming, and well, I actually don't know who's going. I'll see you there. I'm going to Manchester. And that's it. I'm out. I'm gonna watch some more videos because I've been Minecrafting so much that I've you know, there's a lot of videos that I haven't seen yet. I'm almost there. So if I haven't responded to your stuff, then I'm sorry, but it's just, you know, I've been working more than ever, and I just have one day off in the week, and that fucking Minecraft is taking. I've been watching Kurt J. Mack on his Farlands or Bust. I've watched the first season, which is 30 videos long, where he just, his mission is to walk in Minecraft as far as he can until he reaches what is called the Farlands, which is basically the place where the software goes buggy and it creates all this weird terrain and the game becomes unplayable. And the game's developer Notch has said that it exists. Some people have gone there, but by other means than just walking. And Kurt has said, you know, I'm gonna walk there, and he's been doing so for 4 fucking years. Fucking years, right? 4 of them. Which is a really long time. And he still isn't there. And he's asking for donations for Child's Play, which is an organization that gives toys to kids in hospitals, which is very good, of course. But it's become a thing, and he's a lot of followers, and he's very successful with his videos, and it's really cool. And the reason I watched it because he's watchable, and he has. I was, you know, he's surviving and exploring, and I was just wondering, you know, how you do that in Minecraft, and I did the same thing. I went on Giles' server and I walked 5 days, 5 Minecraft days, in a certain direction, and back. So that's what I did, and it takes a lot of time, and then I don't have time to do anything else. So I've done a video. Thanks, Dave. The trip down memory lane was. I think I'm going to actually read some of these again. I'll see you guys. The video ends here. Bye bye.